Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.
Hello and welcome to another Catalyst Sprint. This session we have a few guests joining. One I have here is Alison from Proofspace and Marcin. We're going through their proposal here. If you guys can turn on your cameras and we'll get this one started. We're a little bit behind time in schedule, but we're going through this interesting one here called Bot Eliminator. And I really love this one here because it's a really good use case for digital identities and everything else around it. So Alison, I know you have a slideshow presentation. So if you'd like to start your share screen.
Sure, and what I do is talk about how it works using the technology in Atala PRISM and Proofspace platform. And maybe Martin can talk a little bit about why it's so important. So the idea here is that I think my screen is loading. Tell you that the idea here is that instead of logging into a game, a blockchain-based game with a password and a username, the player can create a DID, which is a decentralized identifier. So it's a unique private number identifying the player that they create that only their device and an app. And we love the Proofspace app. It does this seamlessly with a great user experience, if I do say so myself. So then the player connects to the game and the game issues a verifiable credential to the player's account creation. So now the player shares their unique public number and they receive a verifiable credential. Every time the player goes back to log in and access their account, they present that verifiable, which is the key to let them get into their account with the game. So it's a more secure, user-friendly way that eliminates the need to have an account and a password. And just by itself, the verifier is much more difficult for one person to use a bot to create thousands of accounts because they have to have a device that can have the app and create the DID and hold the verifiable credential. But verifiable credentials then make the process even more secure, eliminating even more of those bots, because a player can enhance their reputation by using social stamps to verify their social media accounts. So the idea here is you can use the Proofspace platform to get your Twitter account verified, your LinkedIn profile verified, and you receive a secure, private, decentralized verifiable credential that you hold in your identity wallet, your Proofspace app, and you can present that game. And the more data points that an individual player has about themselves and their public online life, the less likely they and the benefit of this is that the game doesn't need to track all of that social data, and the social media companies certainly never know, and they can't benefit from the fact that you're using your ID, so it's private, but it adds security and eliminates the bots from capturing value and really destroying the enjoyment of the game. So that's my brief overview. I'll just say quickly, you can try out social stamps yourself. There's a link and you can verify your own social media credentials and get your verifiable credential in your identity. And we anticipate lots of uses for those in the future. And then the link to our proposal is there as well. So that's it from the screen share. And turn it back over to you guys.
All right, Marcin, how are you guys using this on your platform?
Yeah, so we started already because we are coming from the Web2 traditional side of gaming, and logins, everyone knows, two-factor authentication and so on. Yeah, you need this kind of stuff to know how the items are distributed in the game, which kind of rewards, achievements, and so on. Everybody knows this from Steam, from the Epic Store. Yeah, the problem is that it's super easy today to create 100 accounts, yeah, and you are destroying, or not you, but the people that like to do this kind of fraud, they destroying the games economy. They are behaving unfair in relations to other players, which have not the knowledge how to create bots and so on. And it's a super painful experience for games companies to track all the stuff. The nice thing that Alison even didn't mention is that you can use this VC for every kind of game if you like. Yeah. So, and you get also benefits like let's take your Diablo 4 Blizzard account. If you activate the two-factor authentication, you get something from this. So for us, as the provider of this game, it's always a very positive way to build also fair economies. And this is what we want to do. We like to give a game to the people that they have the ability to spend their precious time on. Why should it be unfair? Yeah, why should it be unfair? Why we have to deal with multi-accounts and so on? And that's why we do this with the bot eliminator. The nice thing about this is that it's super fast integrated, thankful to Proofspace and Atala PRISM. Yeah, that's the nice thing about it, that we don't need a development time of several months or something like this, because Proofspace already has done this work. Yeah,
that is a brilliant use case for this. I always found with a lot of games, especially play to earn games, or not even play to earn games. I can't remember what the last one I was playing, but like World of Warcraft, for example. There's a massive like a off game community where people are trading and selling and making a living off selling things from in the game itself, and then you trade it within the game, so you can make real world money from it. So people are doing this already, and they have bots in the game, and bots farming resources to trade off in real life. So I'm not surprised that something like this will really can change the dynamics of gaming and how things are done. So it's an absolutely brilliant use case. What's the cost involved for users and the cost involved for yourself, Marcin, to integrate it into the game?
So maybe Alison can say something about this, because as far as I know, the whole costs is on our side as a provider, because this is a service. Yeah. So for us as a game publisher or a developer, this is to us. And we are super happy, because you mentioned the situation in World of Warcraft. Yeah, there are already not only World of Warcraft, there is CSGO and Valorant, all the shooter. They are using some kind of anti cheat software, which costs several thousands of dollars. And as far as I know, this is not the case for the bot eliminator. But the nice thing is about that for the user, there are no huge costs besides, I guess, the transaction fee, which is super low on Cardano, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say, let me speak to how the different technological pieces all fit together. That might help answer that question. So there's some different pieces to the puzzle. There's the Cardano blockchain, which we all know and love. Then there's Atala PRISM, which is software that's being built by IOG. And what Atala PRISM does is allows that the public parts of the data involved in the exchange of credentials get recorded to the blockchain. And so that public data is the issuer's decentralized identifier. So if AdaQuest, the game, is issuing credentials, AdaQuest's identifier is recorded on Cardano. And that's a public information, because people need to know that credentials issued by AdaQuest are signed by AdaQuest. And then information about how the credential is organized is also published to the blockchain. What's not published to the blockchain is any personal information, and that's really important. No personal information is published to the blockchain, not even in encrypted format. So no personal data. Any private peer-to-peer, direct from the issuer to the recipient, and from the recipient to whomever they choose to share it with. So there's really minimal information that's recorded to the Cardano blockchain, and Atala PRISM is the software that takes the decentralized identifier and the verifiable credential information, the public parts of it, and writes it to Cardano and allows for those signatures to be checked when the credentials are presented. So when information is written to the blockchain, there's a transaction fee, and right now that's flowing through PRISM. What Proofspace has done, and Marcin very kindly alluded to this, our mission is to provide super easy to use, no code, web-based dashboard applications that very quickly plug into anybody's website or game or front end to make it easy to start issuing and verifying credentials. So we take all of the heavy lifting of development away from the game or the website and allow them to just figure out what they want to issue and verify and get started. So we then provide the connection through Atala PRISM to the Cardano blockchain. So we charge, as Marcin said, a small fee. We try to make it very affordable for anybody to get up and running for the use of the dashboard to issue credentials and to verify credentials. From the end user's perspective, it's free. The Proofspace app to hold your credential and to present them to be verified, that's free. And yeah, there's no cost right now for the end user. To be totally transparent, we're all still figuring out how the Atala PRISM business model will work as version 2 evolves and develops. So we're in the proof of concept stage with Atala PRISM v2, but Proofspace has the full capabilities, and that's the other thing that actually drew me to Proofspace when I first joined the team, is the ability to use PRISM where it is today, but also fill in the gaps with the Proofspace technology to make it usable and ready for production in the places where it's still developing.
Super exciting, and it's interesting to know that it can be all upgraded with the next version, as well as Atala PRISM evolves too. So that's super good to know. Now, how much ADA are you guys asking for this particular proposal, and what's the delivery timeline for everything?
So as far as I have to check, because
I know, me too.
Not running one proposal, but it's only 2 months of work, because this is the minimum needed for Catalyst, which is perfect because we got 1 month to integrate this and test this on our side. So on the developer side, something in a closed environment to test the dashboard that Alison mentioned it. And the other month will be the rollout, where we allow beta users and people who will use this to get benefits from it, achievements and so on inside ADA Quest. And we are asking for only 40K of ADA. Yeah, 40,000, not 14, but 40,000 ADA. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
the
works
community
out to be. Yeah,
can't afford not to vote for this.
Yeah, really,
that was
because
the minimum.
It's the dev time. If you look at other projects, it's always takes several months. Like our dungeon crawler. Okay, I'm spoiling. But however, that's the great thing, and it would be perfect when the Cardano community sees that finally there is something like this solution without abusing your personal data. Yeah.
All right, brilliant, guys. Yeah, your time's up for this session, and it's good to know all the details, and I'll put the links and references in the show notes so that anyone that is interested in this one can find out a little bit more. It sounds like a no-brainer, really, and seeing more applications and integrations with Proofspace, Atala PRISM, and an actual game as well will be absolutely brilliant to see. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, so I'll just get ready for our next guest coming right up. So just give me 1 second.
So we can leave now.
Yep. You guys can go.
Have a nice one, Mike.
Can I? Thank you. Can I give you the links somewhere? Where should I send the links?
I've got all the links, but you can DM me, or Marcin can DM me as well.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
No
Bye.
problem. Thank you.
Hey, Peter, how you doing?
All right. Our next guest is up and running as well. Mike, did you have something to share on the screen too?
I do. Hey, jumping right into it.
Yep, pretty much. It's all live, so we're getting right into it. Share screen button at the bottom there. Your audio sounds good.
All right. Let me do it. All right, here we go. Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Hey, Peter, how you doing? Thanks for holding these. Our project for Catalyst Fund 10 is called ADMN. It is an intellectual property registration and administration application built for Cardano. Just a little bit to get into who we are. My name is Mike Lerman. I'm a longtime content creator, musician, been doing it forever since I was 11 years old. I've been in the intellectual property rights management, finance, royalties, accounting area for 15 years plus. In the last 5 years, I've been working in fintech operations. My brother is the other founder. He's on the more technical side. He's a web developer and basically a full stack developer. He's worked for a host of many large companies. Yeah, so we're the founding members. We also have two new members. One of them is a legal counsel member, lawyer, and the other is a marketing executive who's been in the business for 20 years. We can talk more about that later. So basically, the problem we're trying to solve is that the blockchain space needs an intellectual property solution. Most creators don't know how to secure protection for their works. They don't know how to register the IP that they're trying to make, especially people in Cardano doing NFTs. And they don't know how to license their intellectual properties in the correct way. And then most licensors, people looking to license those copyright or trademarks, don't know where to start looking when they want to use something for their content. They don't have the means to draft and negotiate a contract. We want to bring that on-chain to Cardano. So what is ADMN? ADMN is a tool for creators to mint their IP rights to the blockchain, similar to like doing an NFT, except that with ADMN, they're simultaneously registering their works with the U.S. Copyright Office and or United States Trademark and Patent Office. So we're working on copyrights and trademarks, bringing them onto the blockchain. And the cool thing about that is that when say that we do that and we register, with the government and with, on the blockchain, is that if the NFT changes hands, ADMN will re-register those rights with the government. Local governments can be slow to accept blockchain technology, obviously. So ADMN is a compliant transitionary product. We want to create an infrastructure for IP in preparation for the future where things will be moving on chain very soon. So the customer proposition is that users can register their IP protection with the government with using ADMN. They also receive an ADMN NFT. And then ADMN can also provide a B2B license with businesses where they can provide copyright and trademark registrations on the Cardano ecosystem for Web3 music, books, audiovisual works, NFT branding companies. And this also goes for non-crypto companies. So, we have a couple of, music record labels that are interested in using our service for registering their copyright works. We also have a signed letter of intent with our first possible customer if we get funded. And that first customer is Noom, which I believe that you are a ambassador of. So we've had good conversations with them. They would like to use this product as a value add for their clientele, and it'll also help them in the future when they want to start tokenizing different types of rights like music publishing, things like that. So why do people want, why would you want to copyright, register your copyright? Why would you want to trademark it? The problem is that most people think that if they post something on social media or mint it as an NFT, that they'll be able to use that as their protection. And the problem with that is that most territories, if somebody infringes your work, they won't allow you to sue for the income received by the work. So the infringer will only be able to file an injunction against that infringing party, which is basically just stopping them from further exploitations. but you won't be able to sue them for the actual income they made on your work. So admin solves this issue by registering with the government and on Cardano's blockchain. While licenses can be automated and secure, we want to kind of create and incentivize proper licensing on chain and lower the bar for licensing so that people actually use things the correct way. So that's kind of, the issue that we're trying to solve by doing that. So what are we bringing to Cardano? Well, we're legitimizing NFT creation, with government compliance. We're bringing in these companies into a decentralized ecosystem. It's a modern utility. It's actually, creating the possibility to mint and license copyrights, trademarks. We're looking into patents later, but that's not a part of our current roadmap. And then, we can allow NFT creators to license their brands. Say that you're an NFT creator and you're going through the bear market and you're having a tough time keeping your project afloat. Maybe you can license your brand, using the trademark portion of admin. And it can also bring adoption to Cardano by introducing Web2 creators like record labels, book publishers, music publishers, all sorts of creative entities to the Cardano ecosystem. In addition, we're also proud to be part of Project Simba, which is, SoundRig's initiative to help, people that are, in territories that may not be able to have infrastructure for intellectual property, and also refugees that are having trouble, having rough situations. So we want to be able to help them out by offering admin services to them. So what is admin working on currently? Right now, we're looking for a full stack blockchain developer, front end developer. My brother does a large part of that, but it'd be nice to have some extra stuff for the dashboards. We have selected an applicant for legal counsel, and we have also selected an applicant as a marketing executive. So in Catalyst Fund 10, we're asking for 700,000 ADA, and that's the main gist of it for now. Do you have any questions? How fast did I go?
You're just under the 5-minute mark, which is great.
All right.
And I do have some questions for you. So the first off, the amount of funding, 700,000 ADA, that's works out roughly to be about 100, just under 180,000 US dollars. Now just the breakdown of the staff required there, the legal counsel and the legal fees for this, I assume would be a large part of this, because you have to work with the government issuance of the copyrights and stuff. Is that correct? I'm just trying to gauge where the breakdown of the costs are.
Right. So that's a great question. So the copyright part of it, we kind of have in hand. I've been working in this field for my whole career. So legally, any entity can register your copyrights on your behalf as long as you have signed approval. Most of the legal fees are going to be allocated toward the trademark side, which has a little bit more of a nuance, right? Technically, if you're outside of the U.S., you can register copyrights anywhere, whatever domicile you're in, you can register with the U.S. Copyright Office. And for the most part, you're protected in any territory. With regard to, trademarks, it's a little bit tougher because you have to have a U.S. attorney to be able to sign off on your application with the U.S. Trademark Office. So that is the part that now that we've selected our legal counsel, we'll be able to, and they're have 20 years in the business with trademarks, and so they'll be able to sign off on each one, and we'll be able to automate that. So that whole part of it is going, in terms and conditions and things like that. But we think that we'll be able to put that in hand pretty easily. It's when it comes to certain types of trademarks, we may have to, put people on a happy path at first and be only able to do, the simpler things at first. But later on, as the project grows, I think we can, widen our scope of ability to be able to trademark different types of projects. And copyright, we'll be able to do. We're starting off originally for the demo with music, so that's the PA, performing arts copyright form, and the SR, sound recording copyright form. But we'll be able to move into audio-visual works, literary works, theatrical works, printed works really soon. It's all a lot of the same tech that we can leverage for that.
That's really super exciting, and I love the initial use case there. It just makes sense with the music industry to be able to register your copyright and trademarks online for music. It just totally makes sense. With the transfer of the copyright, you said like if the NFT is moved to someone else, how is that legal? Like, or what happens if someone gets their wallet stolen in that case, and then I end up with it for some reason? How does that part of it work?
Well, I mean, wallets getting stolen and people sending their NFTs to the wrong place is not something that anyone can control, right? I do have a slide though that kind of explains how like an NFT transfer during a sale would happen. And I can try to share that real quick if I can get this right quickly.
Yeah, you got a couple of minutes left.
So how do am I sharing here? All right. So how do sales of IP work with admin? So if you have an admin IP NFT, you're the original owner, you sell it to a new buyer, right? The buyer redeems the proof of new registration with admin. So once that sale happens, admin tracks the sales of the NFT on chain. And then admin will refile in an automated fashion new IP registration with the local government. So what the new buyer would have to do is come in to admin's dashboard, they connect to their wallet, and then they can redeem the registration and the NFT is updated.
Gotcha. Okay. There's still a manual process that the new NFT owner would have to go through to update the data.
Right. I mean, they can have the NFT, and they can use that to receive on-chain, royalties if it was earning royalties for something, right? And I'm not talking about NFT royalties. I'm talking about IP royalties, which are two different things. But so like there's a little bit of information that we would need from them because the government registration would require some personal information, right? I'm not trying to KYC everybody on the internet. But just in order to redeem their registration with the U.S. government, we would need their name and address, things like that.
Okay. I've got one final question for you here before we have to end this one. And that's what about other jurisdictions around the world? So this covers the copyright and trademarks in the US, but we know I could take that intellectual property and use it somewhere else in the world. Like, can the platform cover the globe?
Well, we're planning on extending it to other territories. For the most part, if you're in, the continental Europe or other, maybe Africa and other places, I mean, because the U.S. is the largest collection of copyrights and they, they have the widest range of protection. So we wanted to start there. If you're in another territory and somebody tries to infringe your work in another territory, having a registration with the U.S. Copyright Office is probably the best place to be because you'll be able to directly interfere with that, sue for that information. I think that, every territory is different and has different laws. But I think this is the best place to start because most of the licensing that we expect, especially when it comes to NFTs, are going to have to be for worldwide uses, right? So like if you're using content and you're putting it online, in order to license that, you need a worldwide license, right? And so the best place to have a registration if you're doing a worldwide license is in the US. But yeah, I think that, the thing that we're trying to help out with, and I know our time is limited, is that if you are starting a trademark and you want to sell worldwide or to people in the US and say that you're in a territory that does not have infrastructure for intellectual property Admin actually helps them out with that because, they would need to purchase their own US attorney to be able to get that registration. Whereas if they use admin, they could be anywhere in the world using admin to do that, and they don't have to pay a whole bunch of legal fees to do that.
All right, brilliant, Mike. Probably have to get you on again in the future and dig a little bit deeper into this one. But thank you so much for sharing your Catalyst proposal and telling me about the platform as well. I'll put all the links and references in the show notes, so anyone that is interested can check out a little bit more about it there too. All right, Mike.
Cardano.
Thanks. All right, we'll chat soon.
All right, see you.
So our next guest, let me just get them up. So very soon. Sorry about that, Steph. I should try and get into contact with you, let you know before I start the camera, but this is all live. So we're ready to go. And I did have a little chat to you about this one last year at Rare Evo. And this one's the Learn to Earn platform on a Lido Nation. So this is a really cool application of blockchain as well. And Stephanie's got their proposal here to go through. So did you have slides to share or anything?
I don't have slides to share. I've had a crazy day, and I'm super happy to be here, but you get me.
You're ready to go. Okay, so you've got 5 minutes to go through the proposal, and your time starts whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. We did start talking about this proposal a year ago because the proposal that we have now in Fund 10 is a follow-up proposal building on some great success we had with our proposal that did win funding in Fund 9. So just to start with that a little bit to explain the project, Swahili Learn to Earn. A couple of things that we're testing here, or that we were testing with our project in Fund 9, is to see what would happen with incentivized onboarding to Cardano in Swahili Speaking Africa. And so a couple targets that we were getting at here is that number one, Africa is a target area, an interest area for us in Cardano, seeing that there's a lot of potential for blockchain technology to have a lot of impact there. So what does that mean? How do we contribute to that future? And what it seems to me is that we don't contribute to it if people there don't know about blockchain technology and don't have access to educational, hype-free, good information that's talking about, real life applications of blockchain technology that are relevant to their lives. And things that are not relevant to a lot of lives in some of these parts of Africa is a lot of the way many of us may be on this call. If you are in kind of the Western world or the more developed world, we might have gotten into it through, retail investment, a little bit of interest on the side, and then maybe building to a lot more interest in more about the technology. But that onboarding path is not so accessible to people in Africa. I'll just leave it at that. But a lot of the practical applications around financial tools and identity tools and self-sovereignty and having ownership of your things and not being reliant on centralized institutions like governments and other bodies that might be subject to corruption or whatever are super relevant. So anyway, okay. Jumping, Africa. Lido Nation specializes in educational content, hype-free educational content. So we have this already. We have more than 100 articles about Cardano and blockchain. And we have translated probably 3/4 of them at this point, close to 100 of them into Swahili. So we had that in our back pocket. So we didn't have to have that be part of the proposal. What we did as part of the proposal was build a learning system in Swahili that rewarded participants with $1 worth of ADA per lesson that they did, for up to 25 lessons. So a participant could earn $25 worth of ADA for taking for reading 25 articles and passing a quiz. If they read the article and didn't pass the quiz, they could come back the next day and try again. So there was no ultimate penalty. We just really want them to come back and learn the content and succeed. Beyond those first 25, they could keep learning through 75 learning articles. But after $25, it wasn't remunerated with ADA. You could earn NFTs. It was super successful. We had almost 500 participants, which is all we could afford with our budget for rewards, right? had no problem filling our ranks. Like, I didn't know if it would be hard to like spread the word or get people to participate. It was not hard. Okay, from there, I'm going to jump into our next proposal, because the one piece that was missing, like a whole ton of success, a lot of fun with this project. And just to clarify this, like the people who are participating, like based on clues that I don't have time for right now, these were new learners. These were absolutely new. You know, some people maybe had some exposure to Cardano, like that's how they might have heard about it in the first place. But the way this was structured was spread the word. Like you have, bring people in. They were opening wallets for the first time, staking them for the first time, learning about all of this for the first time. So it truly was this onboarding experience for people. In Kenya and Congo was most of our traffic. The one gap in this project, which we kind of knew going in, and it really all panned out that way, was identity. We did not have a blockchain way to manage identity. There was nothing sort of technically speaking that could stop a person from signing up with a whole bunch of accounts to try to earn lots of ADA, Did that happen? To some degree it did, but we managed it manually. So I won't go into the details, but we did manage it manually. We see you, we find you, you're using the same wallet, you're blocked. You can still, we would let people continue to learn with their primary account, but to the extent that we were able to manually, fallibly block. Peter, I see your mouth moving. I'm not sure if I should be able to hear you or not.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I've got my daughter screaming at me in the background.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to hear you. Identity. And this is not just our project. This is a huge thing with lots of really practical applications for blockchain technology, is solving the identity problem. And I would venture to say that it hasn't been solved yet, but there are lots of projects that are trying to solve it. And that's what this campaign that we're in for this one, the Atala PRISM campaign, is all about, is let's get projects in here using the identity tools that are being developed right now, getting them out there, stress testing them. And that's what we want to do. So we want to take what worked really well from project number one and implement an identity solution, which will allow us to scale to have 1,000 new participants, doing a little bit of learn to earn, learning about onboarding into Cardano, learning about blockchain. They're literally using blockchain tools in order to participate and gain rewards and NFT rewards. We're adding HOSKY token rewards as just an added fun thing, just to help participants experience some of the fun side of blockchain as well. But at the end of the experience, they will have a verified credential through probably Proofspace. We've talked to the Proofspace folks who do use Atala PRISM, and we're already enrolled, Darlington and myself, in the Atala PRISM Pioneers course and getting onboarded that way. So one way or another, we're gonna dive into the identity side of things, and hopefully this project will be a way that we can really practically implement a solution sooner rather than later.
Absolutely brilliant. There's so much here. There's so much to dive into. First off, how much funding are you asking for these proposals and delivery timelines for them?
Oh my gosh, Peter. I don't know.
No one ever has this data on hand, but luckily I can just do it in one click and find it for you. So
okay,
just
I know
give me
timeline
1 second.
We asked for the 12-month timeline, which was the limit. The past project we did in, I think 9 months was our timeline. Yes, 8 or 9 months was our timeline for the first run of it. And that was a really reasonable timeline for that. We coordinate with we have a physical lab in Nairobi, Kenya, blockchain lab. Have a developer team there and we have a community team there. So it's really impact, we also have people using the program in Congo where we don't have feet on the ground personally, but so it doesn't require that, but it is really nice. And I think adds that really like community-based piece of it, where people who speak Swahili and have friends who speak Swahili can they're helping develop the product and translate for us and all of that. But we went ahead and timelined it for the full 12 months because the identity piece, that's all. And so really the whole first 3 or 4 months of the projects is working through that.
Yeah, and you might deliver it in 3 months, for like if you integrate in like Proofspace, it might only take Darlington a week to do.
And
So
they go faster than
work
we.
is magic, and then hey presto,
Yeah.
it's all done. But I just pulled up one of the proposals there, and it's 239,200 ADA, which works out to be roughly $61,000 at the moment. So I think it's a reasonable costing, especially over a 12-month period with a lot of unknown factors in terms of development.
And something to bear in mind with that budget is that I don't remember the proportion off the top of my head. I do know in the first proposal it was 40% of the budget, and this one it's might be more like 30% of the budget or something like that. Although I don't know, is for the rewards that are disseminated to those new wallets, right? So there's the certain amount that is obviously paying us as developers and implementers doing this work. But a significant piece of that budget is being seeded to, we're shooting for 1,000 new users in Africa. So they walk away from the program not only understanding a lot of things about blockchain and Cardano, but they've got 50, we're budgeting it all in ADA this time to be aligned with like everything. It makes way more sense. So it's 50 ADA is the reward budget per participant, verified participant, because they're going to have an identity.
That's super exciting. I can't think of a better way to create advocates, Swahili speaking advocates over on the African continent to other than rewarding them and educating at the same time for taking on board the course and everything else around it. So I think it's a brilliant use case, and I love what you guys are doing there.
Thank you, Peter.
So I personally haven't seen the course myself. Can anyone do it? I know it's in Swahili, but it might be able to translate it and just check out and see how it's all working.
You can. As an admin, I'm able to view it in English, but you can peek at it and see it. If you go to lidonation.com and just click on the main menu, and if you haven't done that, just do that because there's a lot of good stuff there. But one of the things you'll see is something noticeably in Swahili. It's a little red menu item. It says, Jifunze upate tuso. I think means learn to earn in Swahili is what I've been told. And if you click on that, it'll take you to a page where it'll be in Swahili. It's only available in Swahili. That was one of the ways that we sort of controlled participation, is that you couldn't just go take the course in English. You could only take it in Swahili. Sort of controlled in that way. It's one of the ways that we had of really targeting Africa, because that's really the only place where Swahili is widely spoken. But you can see it. You can see the login and the register, and if you can probably kind of click your way through that with some, turn on your Google Translate or something, and then you would see the course. But it is all the content that's on our site. It's kind of 75 of our most kind of general purpose educational courses. Covers decentralization, Cardano basics. The whole first 25 is all like onboarding stuff, like how do I open a wallet, how do I stake, what is staking, what's up with decentralization, what's a DApp, what's DeFi, what's an NFT. The second 25 courses is all about Project Catalyst. So this project does include some reworking of that because Project Catalyst is changing.
Always changing, ever evolving.
Yeah. So we'll have some new content too.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, Steph, that's brings you up to the time allocation for your presentation as well. And I think it's another absolutely brilliant proposal for the Cardano community and the African continent as well. So thank you so much for putting this one together. And I'll put all the references in the show notes so everyone can get to it. And we'll chat again soon.
Thank you, Peter. Hope to see you soon.
You going to Rare Evo?
Yes, are you?
No, unfortunately not. If I was, I should be on a plane right now.
I was thinking that actually, yeah. How about Dubai?
Yeah. Unfortunately not either. No, I won't be hanging around any of these major events this year. But if you are, good on you.
One of these times.
Keep working hard.
All right. Catch you soon.
All right. Thank you, Steph. All right, so that brings us to the end of another Catalyst Sprint. If you are going to any of those events, Rare Evo this weekend, the Cardano Summit in November in Dubai, or NFT XLV that's coming up next month, end of September, please check out all those websites. I'll put links to them in the show notes, but they are fantastic events to jump onto and attend, so that you can actually meet some of these community members, these people building in the ecosystem and doing some really, really cool, amazing things. If you're here locally in Australia, we run a monthly meetup in Brisbane. Tonight is our next meetup, actually, and we're talking about Cardano DeFi and opportunities that can take you beyond just staking. So if you're staking ADA, great, fantastic. That's the first step. But what are other people doing at the moment in the ecosystem, around the DeFi space? How are they taking advantage of synthetic assets, how is liquidity provision works, and all these other things, and the risks behind them all as well. So there's lots of things to it. But you can check out that live stream. It's the next live stream that is coming up. So if you just look on the channel, there's that live stream all set up, ready to go, and you can subscribe to that one and join us as well. That's it for this particular Catalyst Sprint. Thank you so much for joining me. There's another one on Friday, and then another one on Saturday as well. So lots of projects going through and talking about the proposals. Super exciting to see what's building on the Cardano ecosystem. Absolutely love it. And thank you guys for being here. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and all that jazz. Helps with the algorithm, and we'll chat